Hi friends, welcome back to my channel Modern Quantity Surveyor Key Skills to Have. So we will continue with the competencies, which is cost planning at the briefing stage. We will look into the client briefing process, the client's budget, and how to calculate the building costs. So the client briefing process is a very vital aspect of every construction project. It is the process by which the client's requirements are investigated, developed, and communicated to the supply side in the construction industry. What are the benefits of good briefing? Good briefing seeks to minimize the likelihood of a client receiving an unsatisfactory building by ensuring that the project requirements are fully explored and as clearly communicated as possible. While good briefing cannot guarantee that a building will be perfectly adapted to its occupants, it can help avoid serious mistakes. Early stage briefing. Briefing is often regarded as an early stage activity during which the client's requirements are written down in a formal document called the brief. This document should always provide the benchmark to guide the development of the designs. Early stage briefing is also vital since theoretically, potentially expensive design variations can be avoided by identifying all options at the outset. You can look here at the figure which shows the relationship between the cost and opportunity of change through the project life cycle. The simple message here is that if the changes occur later in the life cycle, the ability to make the changes is constrained and the cost of doing so is much higher. Also, to make a brief, there is a guidance by the Constructing Excellence 2004. Let's look at the contents of the brief. So first is to establish the need to build. Maybe you can choose refurbishment or a business practice which may even eliminate the need for building. Second is adequate resources. Client must fully resource briefing stage. The careful management. Here the client provides clarity and the design team ensures accuracy. Good teamwork. Of course, trust and communication are key to relationships. Fifth is clear communication. Professionals must simplify, avoid the jargon for the clients. Sixth, an approach appropriate to the project. Briefing techniques should suit each project's complexity. Seventh is involve the end users and differentiate clearly between the paying and the user client's needs. Formal information gathering techniques. For example, if the project is more complex, you need more structured techniques. Next, now we will consider how the briefing information translates into budget planning. So we will look at the principal components of the budget and some simple techniques that may be used in order to build it up. So the first thing we will speak about is the total cost. When any type of building development takes place, the total expenditure on the project will be much higher than the net cost of the building fabric. So building costs are just one part of the total expenses. Sometimes other factors like land costs are more significant in projects. Many planning exercises overly emphasize this factor, ignoring other significant costs such as land or equipment, which may dominate the project's overall financial considerations and timeline. So we can also see this figure here. It shows like what the total cost will be. It could include building costs, furnishings, fittings, machinery, the cost of land, legal cost of acquiring and preparing the site, obtaining the necessary approvals, value-added tax, professional fees, financing cost, disposal cost, demolition or other physical preparation of the site cost, cost of management, operation and maintenance. So these are like the whole cost that one must consider for the building. The total cost, sometimes even keeping building cost low is not important. If the land is very expensive, the focus shifts to using that land efficiently by following local rules for how much space can be built on it. even if that means spending more on the building itself. Whereas in other situations, a building may be a small part of a larger project, such as a TV transmitter station, making it essential to prioritize project timelines and overall coordination over just building costs. Then the land values and development. In development, land cost is crucial for developers. A building project requires land that once used cannot be repurposed unless the current structure is demolished or altered, distinguish it from other businesses. The land supply is largely fixed, leading to significant economic effects. Unlike other goods, land cannot be increased during high demand, causing prices to surge in specific areas even if nearby land is cheaper. Now, what is the role of the valuer? Valuation surveyors, they are the experts on the value of land or buildings for investment and the income which various types of development can be expected to produce. But cost planners must also need to understand factors affecting cost of land for development. So the development value. The development value of the land is the difference between the cost of building on it and the market price of the completed development. For example, if it costs a developer $200,000 to build an apartment complex on a piece of land and that complex can be sold for $300,000, development value is $100,000. And to benefit fully from this value, a developer ideally needs to own the land. But in areas if the land is scarce, the developer might have to lease it instead, which could again reduce their potential profits. There are again several factors which determine the value of the land or determine the development value of the land. For example, the location, usage restrictions by the sellers and regulations, the easements such as right of way, the topography, if it is hilly or flat, and existing buildings, and the current economic conditions. So what is the effect of building cost on land value? Now the value of land for development can be expressed in this formula as value of development is equal to price of undeveloped land plus building cost plus profit. And we can rearrange this equation again as price of undeveloped land is equal to value of development minus building cost plus profit. So sellers should also calculate this value to set their prices. Now in high demand areas, rising development values can keep the land prices stable, while increasing building cost may reduce land value if development values decline. Also, the social considerations of land use. A free market in land development is undesirable. There's a strong belief that the public should benefit from increased private land values, particularly to facilitate social development in urban areas. Past efforts like the Town and Country Planning Act of 1947 and the Community Land Act of 1975 often inhibited development. But modern strategies favor redeveloping brownfield sites and require developers to contribute to infrastructure costs. Then what is the effect of land values on cost planning techniques? So, building cost strategies work well with low land costs but must adjust significantly when the values rise. In a high demand urban area, building additional flats lowers relative costs, increasing profits even with less efficient designs. Cost planning then focuses on maximizing units and considering subsidies. Planning authorities prioritize aesthetics and amenities, often rejecting profit-driven projects. Cost planning explores various designs, while approved projects require fast execution, balancing speed and cost control. And not all developments are speculative. For business use buildings, high land costs prompt exploring cheaper locations or alternative strategies like centralizing distribution to avoid over-investing in land assets. Also, the clients, they can receive sometimes financial incentives from the local governments such as grants for capital cost, tax relief and subsidies. So these incentives also should be considered when budgeting for a project as they may significantly impact the decision between different sites. Land cost and social development. Previously, land costs were overlooked in social projects as these projects lacked profit motives, but now profit-based calculations are increasingly used to housing projects with actual or potential income. Now let's look at how to calculate the building cost. There are various methods such as cube method for estimating cost. This is outdated and they favor gross floor area over cubic capacity. The superficial area method calculates the total floor area, providing a closer estimate to client requirements. The unit method estimates cost based on functional units, providing flexibility in building quality and quantity. Single price rate methods, they require adjustments based on judgment regarding market conditions and project specifics. So for building, where does the money come from? Financing costs, especially high interest rates, significantly impact total building costs during development. Development capital can come from various sources including bank overdrafts, loans from financial institutions, company capital, trading funds, share payments or financing arrangements with intended occupants during construction. Whereas public development financing comes from government funds, loans, stock issuance, local taxes, lottery grants, EU structural funds and private developers involved in social projects for profit-related exchanges. So in conclusion, remember that the total development costs exceed just the building net cost, encompassing land acquisition, legal fees, demolition, professional services, furnishings, VAT, financing and maintenance, affecting the overall project profitability and planning. So in conclusion, first sit down and count the cost so you don't start and then stop. So friends, please learn at least one competency a week. Thank you. Please subscribe to my channel, Modern Quantity Surveyor. Enjoy.